Right. Hello, I'm Matt. Welcome to the channel, the finance channel. So I have seen in the news so many times now the average house price in the UK is this. And I thought it might be interesting to explain to you in simple terms what it might look like for you as the first time buyer to buy this supposed average house. Now, so who am I? I'm Matt. I work in private equity in finance. I am a chartered financial analyst. Who's this video for? This video is for people that have no prior knowledge. It is aimed at those of you looking to get onto the housing ladder for the first time. So just to be clear, it is focusing on the financial aspect. So the bit that everyone's a little bit shy to talk about, basically, how much do you need to save? How much is the average house, and then how much will you have to earn to make that possible. Now this video is going to be based on the average house price in the UK. So let me just quickly look that up. The average house price in the UK is, would you believe it, it's £288,000. And really, this is where we can cut into the interesting bit of the video, because I'm now going to run through what you will need as the first time buyer to come up with to actually be able to buy this average house. Now, I know there's huge regional differences here. These numbers don't make sense if you're looking at London. You will unfortunately not be able to get much for £300,000, whereas you might be able to get a giant castle depending on various bits of the country that you're in. But there are a few key things to look out for, no matter who you are, no matter what question you're looking out for. So let's get straight into that. First, a big obvious one that everyone will know about will be the deposit. Now, for your house, you will need to save 10 to 15%, let's say. It can vary, but let's call it 15%. And that amounts to £43,200. And that's going to be the bulk of what you need to save. But there are various other things to take into account. And the other big one that most people are going to be aware of, they would have heard of, even if they don't know what it means, is stamp duty. Now, this country and this government has introduced a number of measures, which basically means for the first time buyer, it is very unlikely that there will be any stamp duty. I will put stamp duty up there, £0, just to keep it on the list, to keep it in mind. Unless you're really going into the more expensive houses, which is less likely as a first-time buyer, this is not going to be a major cost. I believe this starts kicking in at about £450,000 for a first buyer, but it doesn't climb too quickly unless you really start going way above that. So on top of this, you will have some legal fees, £3,000. It can vary greatly on how complex the house that you're buying into is. The final piece to this puzzle here is financial fees, £750. And that's basically to help arrange your mortgage. Now, this isn't strictly necessary. You can do this just by looking at comparison sites and being well educated on this. But even if you are quite savvy, there's so much pressure taken off of you here. For the amount you gain, you probably want someone backing you up here. A financial advisor is going to explain to you the best mortgage to get, what it looks like for you, the payment plans, how long it will be. There are so many things that your financial advisor will take the weight off of you. For £750, it feels like a good investment. So anyway, all in, this average house, if you do this, you go through all these steps, you're getting to the exact figure is £46,950. Let's round it up, call it £47,000. So your average house being £288,000, your deposit of those fees I discussed earlier, only your deposit, the £43,200, goes towards that house, and the remainder has to be picked up by the mortgage. That leaves a balance, i.e. what you're going to have to take out on a mortgage of roughly speaking, £240,000. And this is really the key thing here, because this is what will limit you being able to get a house, because a mortgage, a lender will generally give you four to 5 times earnings. So let's just go easy and say four times earnings. So you would need to earn So it's 240,000 divided by 4, it's £60,000. So that £60,000 is, if you're buying with two, it's collective, £30,000 each. If you're buying it by yourself, it's £60,000. Just then to say, you've got your mortgage, your £240,000 mortgage, and if you take it out for 30 years, you are looking at a monthly repayment of £1,546. Now, this is just on your mortgage, so this is really the same thing to paying rent. So it's just your rent. You will have to pay any running costs to your house on top of that. That is just the mortgage in the house. So picking a rough number here, if you pay £1,546 for your mortgage a month, chuck in £500 of running costs, and you're looking about £2,000 a month for your average home. Now, I'm going to quickly switch across to Excel, and I'll take you through how I've come to these numbers. I'll also explain to you, because I appreciate that not everyone is buying an average house. This isn't as useful as it could be. Let me explain to you how I've come up with these numbers, and you can play around with these figures and get to figures that are more specific to your particular need. Start this bit of the video by saying that this is not financial advice. I forgot that disclaimer. This is just based on my experience that I'm sharing with you, not financial advice. So what I want to do here, just take you through all the figures, and you can see how I've come up with the figures that I mentioned in the video. So the house price was £288,000. The deposit is this times 15% for your deposit. Stamp duty for this house was 0. Legal, I believe, was, we said 3,000, and then financial was £750. The total savings is the sum of those 4 things that we've just mentioned, 46,950, and then the mortgage is basically whatever the house price is minus your deposit. So it doesn't take into account the legal and financial, which are costs elsewhere. Obviously, slow this down and you can go back and watch it if any of this doesn't make sense, because this is the only real confusing bit about this, how you come up with a monthly payment. There's a formula on Excel, it's called PMT. So PMT, and then you open brackets and it tells you all of the rates, all of the numbers that you need to put in. So firstly being the rate, mortgage rates at the moment, this is going to move depending on when you watch this video, but it's about 5.5%. When I've done this video for a 2-year, so I'll go for that. And this is an annual rate, so you need to divide it by 12 because we're doing monthly periods here. Next one is number of periods. So this is in years. It's 25 years, but again, because we're in months, this is times 12. It's 25 times 12 gives you the number of months that this will be over. And PV stands for present value, which is the value of the mortgage that you're taking out. So minus, again, the way the formula works, this number above. So this gives you the 1503. The eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that that's not the same figure I mentioned in the video. I made a small error, but the message still remains the same, that it's about 1,500. So it's quickly switching across here to a table of, I've just populated with a few different figures. So 100,000 on the left, 600,000 on the right. The one we've been discussing here is a £288,000 house with £47,000 of savings and 1,500 a month. So you can see this is as low as 500 a month for a £100,000 house, and £600,000 house is 3,000 a month. Something of note that I noticed, and I'll put the calculator in the description, but stamp duty does actually start jumping up pretty quickly once you hit the bracket above where you pay it, which is 425,000. So yeah, I will leave this here, and feel free to try and recreate this with your own figures as relevant. Back to the video. The final thing I want to sign off on here is when I came out of university, 21, 22, long time ago now, there were so many people who were posting, "Oh, I'm so proud, look at me, here's my keys, here's my first house," literally about a year, maybe even 6 months after leaving university. And I think you just need to be aware, the honest truth here, for most of those people, they haven't earned anything because they've been at university, unless they have got some incredible side hustle. The honest truth of what's going on there is that is their family buying their house for them, that they are then saying, "I'm so proud of my first house." There is a bit of a dirty secret here, that those people, certainly in London, which is where I'm based, those people that got onto the property ladder early, they probably had family help. And I think it means that some people's expectations are not set correctly. So really, it's just an encouragement to keep going with it. More generally, what is this channel going to be? Now, there's certainly going to be a few more videos on mortgages, how to save for them, what they look like. This is just, the idea is to demystify the world of finance. I've been around the world for at least a decade now, and I've had a number of different jobs across a number of different areas in finance, and I feel like there's lots of secrets that I can share. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this has provided some utility to you, and if it has, I look forward to seeing you in the future. Cheers, guys.